Okay, so this is a chain tightening video and also a video to help if you're having any issues with chain coming off. The first thing you want to check is the alignment of your sprockets, but keep in mind that the chain is wider than the sprockets, especially this one, so there's a lot of play. They don't necessarily have to be lined up perfectly. If they are misaligned, it's possible that the motor moved. You would want to loosen these bolts to slide it back and forth if that happened. You also want to check all these set screws on the axle and this collar on the outside. Your axle will be cut right here, but if any of these came loose and anything's moved, this could have moved over and caused a misalignment. So before you tighten your chain, you want to make sure that these bolts are loose, and they have split lock washers, so they can have tension even though they seem to be loose. So make sure they're plenty loose. You would do that with something like this, an extension and a 1/2-inch socket. Once those are loose, the motor can slide a little bit. This one's not loose enough, but it can slide this way or that way, and then you can tighten it using these two bolts with a 9/16 wrench or a 14 millimeter.
This way.
So once the bolts are loose, you can slide the motor back and forth and try to get the sprockets lined up. When you tighten, you always want to tighten this bolt first, as tight as you can get it, and then kind of follow up with this bolt once this bolt won't move anymore. And the reason for that is the tension on the chain is trying to turn the motor counterclockwise. You're trying to counteract that by keeping this bolt tighter than that bolt. And as the motor moves forward, the slack will start to come out of the chain. You want to do just a little bit at a time, this bolt and then the other bolt. Make sure your sprockets stay lined up as the motor moves forward. All right, so once you get it tight, you want to run it and see how it runs. If it's making a clicking noise and it's kind of jumping around, that means it's not aligned. You're probably going to have to tighten or loosen one of these bolts to try to rotate the motor to get that clunk out of there. And it's just going to be a trial and error process. So you just keep making adjustments until it's running smooth, but also you want to get the slack out of the chain. This is a little bit too loose. Make sure you go forward and reverse and kind of alternate between the two. You can hear it start clunking, so something, yeah, see, sprockets weren't aligned. He pushed the motor forward, the clunk went away. So just to recap, trial and error process, tightening and loosening these bolts to align the motor, making sure you get all the slack out of the chain, and getting these sprockets aligned until everything runs smooth. Once you got it, you tighten down these bolts. And then you're good to go. Make sure that all of these collars are tight. They have little Allen set screws on them. If any of those are loose, it could cause the axle to move left or right and get out of alignment.